When people talk about the greatest game of all time, normally it's a game that takes years to develop. They worked hard on it. They have a vision board of everything that they want. People seen teasers of it for years. Press, everything. That's what game of the year is. Normally, though, the game of the year, or the greatest game of all time, I should say, is normally not part of a yearly release schedule in a video game series. That's what the next installment of the SmackDown series is. Back in 2003, Ukes and THQ, they really didn't have to do anything new. After hearing the criticisms of Just Bring It, they made SmackDown Shut Your Mouth quite possibly the best game could possibly be because they reinvented the story mode. There's more replayability than ever before. There was zero complaints about Shut Your Mouth compared to Just Bring It. But there wasn't really a lot that they needed to change, and they really didn't. However, there was one thing that was kind of getting dated. No one complained, but it was kind of getting dated, with the actual gameplay itself. The pick up and play aspect of the game that started on the original SmackDown PS1, Ukes finally decided to touch up on it, and by touch up on it, I mean completely strip it, do a complete overhaul, rebuild it from the ground up. They decided to perfect the system that they had, make it the best arcade system possible, while finally start adding elements of a simulation to make it more like the product of WWE in video game form than ever before. The result, the peak, the mountain that no other WWE game has ever climbed since. We have officially reached the peak of the WWE gaming series. We are talking about SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, the final game under the SmackDown title, and to this day, no other WWE game has matched this title. Now, once again, I must stress, this game was just another in the next installment in the SmackDown series. It never was meant to be a revolutionary title. Those come later and they actually advertise as such. This wasn't like a reboot. This was just going to be the next installment in the series. I truly believe that's what Ukes and THQ were planning for. Just SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, no complaints. We're just going to update the roster, update the arenas, add the new championships that were added, because one of the significant things is this was the first game fully in the Ruthless Aggression era in the brand split. So now they have more titles to work with, separate brands, everything. And this was also, as I already mentioned, the final game under the SmackDown title. Now I have a theory on this personally. I believe because of the reception this game got, I don't think they wanted to name the next title under SmackDown, even though they could have. There's also other reasons that have nothing to do with this personally, that was happening on other consoles, as after this game, the Raw series ended on the Xbox with Raw 2. So they was able to use the Raw game into their next installment. And on the GameCube side, they were going a completely different direction, having a duology over there on the GameCube side. They weren't using either the Raw or SmackDown name. But I personally think, my theory, because this game got the reception it got, they did not want to taint the name of the SmackDown series. They just wanted to end it here. And as I'm about to show you, there's a good reason why they did it that way. And once again, I just want to point out, this was a sequel. This was not years of development. They did not probably had the foresight of what this game was gonna do. They were just simply doing what they did with the previous games. Do one little touch up that they did not do in the previous game, in the previous entries. Shut Your Mouth, they touched up the season mode. They did not have to do any more with that. And as you saw with Shut Your Mouth, they perfected it. And with this game that I'm going to be showing in a little bit, it's pretty much the same. They actually stripped away some of the features that everyone loved, but no one complained when it came to this game, because it didn't really matter when you touch up the core aspect of a game, which is the actual gameplay. Nothing, see, that's the thing. Nothing else matters if the actual gameplay. You can have the best story in the world, and that's sometimes passable. But if a genre like this, wrestling, The core thing is the wrestling and the gameplay. How can we translate the real life wrestling that we see on TV every week and put into the game? In the overhaul that they did with Here Comes the Pain, I would argue they perfected the arcade style that they've been going for since the original SmackDown. They finally added simulation aspects to the game that were incorporated in the previous entries on other consoles that wasn't made by Yuke's. Those were made by Aki, stuff like from WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy. So we are yes, we are about to look at that right now. So just give me one moment as I set this up. And we should be good. Let me cut that. Get this kind of loud. So unfortunately, side note, I had to mute the volume because this is still part of the game where the music is not separated from the action. The licensed music is not separated from the soundtrack. So I had to mute the soundtrack as well, just because I just don't want to get content ID by the actual licensed music from Superstar entrances. It's a give and take. I do have a soundtrack playing in the background that's not from Here Comes the Pain, but I tried to make it as similar as possible to fit the vibe of this era from the years 2000 to 2003. So I hope you guys enjoy that. One moment. Okay, I think we're good. Okay. So before we even get into gameplay, I must just show you this menu real quick, because when you talk about the greatest wrestling game of all time, you probably thought it was going to be a advanced menu that has so many options. This was literally the options of the greatest game of all time: exhibition, create, season, options, and then credits. You actually got to unlock the credits. There is no modes that require microtransactions. Back then, there was no online. There's no DLC. What you got in this game is what you got. So we're about to see why this is considered the greatest wrestling game of all time. We're just going to go to exhibition. We're going to be looking at some of the new match types as well. 2 of them specifically that debuted in this game: the Elimination Chamber and the controversial nowadays bra and panties matches. But we'll get to those eventually. We're just going to do singles just to showcase the 3 core gameplay things that they fixed in this. And for the first fix that they did to the gameplay, I'm just going to use Brock Lesnar, random, Lance Storm. Why not? We're going to use the Unforgiven arena. And again, first thing to note, they actually updated to make it more like the presentation in real life at the time, with the superstars moving during the graphics of the match card, which is cool. And every single character has a unique motion, which is a very nice touch. I mean, the roster size was small at this time. We're not dealing with the 200s, over 200 people in the game situation. So they were able to have time to incorporate every single animation for every single superstar during the matchup screen. And now with the titles, they're available to see outside of the story mode or season mode. Unfortunately, you can't defend them. That's the only sad situation. You won't be able to defend the titles properly outside of story mode until 2 games later. And as you can see, they just touched up everything with the graphics. Brock Lesnar looks more detailed than he did before in Shut Your Mouth. And especially the audience as well. They're way more. They have, I guess you could say it would be the polygon count that they updated. They're not cutouts. Like the first row is not, like, more than the first row is not cutouts. Unlike Shut Your Mouth and Just Bring It. And here's Lance Storm, who's making his debut in a WWE game. I don't believe correction. Lance Storm was in Shut Your Mouth. This is his last game, I believe. I don't think he was in SmackDown versus Raw. If he is, I completely forgot. He made his debut in the previous game with the Un-Americans. That's my mistake. We'll be looking at the roster eventually in a little bit. But I just want to, again, they're showing the in the loading screen stuff to do, and there is a new weapon layout, which we'll go over eventually. Right now, I just want to focus on the gameplay. So before we begin, what I mean when they restructured, overhauled the gameplay, it's really this. Before, it was simple: triangle to run, circle to grapple, X to strike, square to reverse. They completely did away with that. While circle is still the grapple, depending on the button that you pick, it's going to go into 4 different situations: a powerful grapple, a quick grapple, a signature grapple, and a submission grapple, which I'll be showcasing momentarily. And the reversal system has been switched to the back buttons, the trigger buttons. If you want to reverse a strike, it has to be L2. If you want to reverse a grapple, it has to be R2. And if you want to reverse a finisher, you got to hit both at the same time. So, let's see if I can beat Lance Storm. You're already reversing that. They also, which I'm going to talk about briefly, but in a different match. We're just going to focus on the grappling aspect. You see right here, this is... I forgot which grapple I just did. I believe that was power grapple. So a power grapple is just getting more of your powerful moves. Stuff like that. Here's an example of a quick grapple, which is on the right and press circle. I already have a finisher. A submission grapple is down in circle, but not every, I must stress, not every superstar has a submission, but that is normally where it's placed. So, like example, this is Brock with a submission. And they updated the submission system. I didn't want to showcase this yet. I was going to use another wrestler for more of a better example. It's not just weaken your opponent, and once you put in your submission, they'll give up. It's more of a mini game now, which makes things a lot more realistic, because people hated that and yes, there's road breaks. People hated they just put in submission, you come sometimes automatically win. Now you have to fight for that submission. And then last but not least, the signature, where these are essentially the main moves that they would probably use on TV more often than not. Think about like a variation of the Rock Bottom or a variation of the Stone Cold Stunner. It'll be put in this, which is the left in circle. Like an STO right there. And then finisher, still depending on the position, just hit the L1 button. They did do away with the 360 camera. And just like that, the match is over. Again, it's still fast paced, but they gave you way more moves. So your superstar has way more options. It doesn't start to feel the same after 5 minutes. You can probably be 10 minutes deep, even though depending on superstar, you're probably in the match for 5 minutes. And the match is still going to be competitive because there's so many more moves and situations you can put yourself in. For the next demonstration, we're actually going to have a hardcore match. And the biggest update is you can actually grab weapons from under the ring. I believe it started with this game. I could be 100% wrong, but I'm like 100% sure it started with this. And we're going to use The Rock. Why not? It's so, I mean, yes, it is intergender, but why not use Stone Cold? He's right there next to it. We're just going to pick the Raw Arena. And also, you can steal your opponent's finishing move as well. Completely forgot it started in this game by holding L2. And I might actually try to do that. You have to have 2 finishers stored up for that to work. And also, to get out the ring now is actually square. Square is basically everything that the R1 button used to be. So he was able to grab the weapon. Here's Sledgehammer. And the thing about the weapons in this game compared to previous game, they have weight to them. It's probably the best way I can talk about it. Think of it like this. When you, in the previous games, when you swung a chair or a table, regardless of how it looked, it all felt the same, the impact of them. Starting with this game, they try to do a little bit with Shut Your Mouth, especially with the chair, but starting with this game, every weapon feels like it should feel that. I mean, it's just, that's the best way I can describe it. Like hitting someone with a sledgehammer. That's how it's gonna, if I get a chair, you're gonna see exactly what I'm talking about momentarily. And you can also reverse weapons attacks as well. And then if you throw your opponent into the steel steps, you can actually use that as a weapon as well. Just trying to get Stone Cold. There we go. And then there was a lot of new moves as well, specifically for superstars. So like when The Rock does a, as you just saw, I am drawing a blank here. Samoan drop. It's The Rock Samoan drop. And the one thing as well that I forgot to mention, how silly of me, your superstar HUD, you actually have body damage now. The funny part is, this has actually been in Yuke's other Japanese series, Power Move Pro Wrestling, the HUD. That has been a thing for them back in PS1, but they finally incorporated it in the SmackDown series. And I believe it was in their Simple series as well. They just didn't take that aspect of it. Basically, there's always been a damage meter or damaging to your superstar. They just never really presented it. This is the first time they actually show it in the game. And he hit the stunner. You see how impactful that was? Normally some moves don't have the red flashing, but now you know that move really connected or did the most damage. And depending on your weight class, which is another thing I wanted to talk about briefly, it will do certain moves you can't do. I had to use a perfect example of a superstar to talk about weight classes. Now I have two finishers. I wanted to showcase the see, it turns red and you're able to hit the stunner or the other person's finishing move. As long as you're in the same situation that your opponent had to use their finisher for, you can hit their finisher once you have two finishers in stock. I just want to show off the hardcore match, and you can now get weapons outside of the ring. Another thing that they implemented in this game to have more of a simulation style is the debut of weight classes. And for this demonstration, I'm just going to do a triple threat probably, so we can have examples of all three in action. But for this situation, I will be the debuting Rey Mysterio because I'm 100% sure he is a cruiserweight. The other people are questionable, like Ultimo Dragon, and Tajiri. I know for a fact Rey Mysterio is 100% a cruiserweight. And it actually tells you, I think it tells you if I hit this. No, it does not. So, but he is 100% a cruiserweight. Brock Lesnar, which I already used, and we're going to use Big Show, and then we're going to have Kurt Angle, the submission specialist. I cannot talk. If I can find him. Where are you? Did I pass Kurt Angle? I feel like I did. I know for a fact I passed Kurt Angle since I already saw Brock Lesnar. Yeah, we're just going to use Kurt Angle. SmackDown Superstars. We might as well use SmackDown Arena. You can see the triple threat. Just want to show off Rey Mysterio's entrance because it's actually very, very cool. And he is the Cruiserweight Champion, which makes the debut in this game. The Light Heavyweight title was in Shut Your Mouth, but in real life it got renamed to the Cruiserweight title. I mean, like I said, for the most part, besides updating the models or making them more refined, a lot of this stuff is still from Shut Your Mouth. They just brought it up a notch in terms of the presentation. Like I said, their main focus this year was just the gameplay. Everything else they felt like they had locked down, but they really wanted to tighten up the gameplay, and they did just that. We're going to see how hectic this could be. We have, again, 3 different classes: a heavyweight, a super heavyweight, and a cruiserweight. You're going to see how and again, the pause menu showing exactly what I was talking about. You're going to see exactly what I mean when I talk about the different moves I'm allowed and not allowed to do depending on the superstar. So Kurt Angle, because he's a heavyweight, he can pick up the super heavyweights without a problem. It's Rey Mysterio who has a problem. So if I try to pick up the Big Show, it's not going to happen. You see right here, he's struggling. This is the weight class thing. They were even though this is still a arcade heavy game, they wanted to add some simulation aspects to it. And because I'm a cruiserweight, pretty much all damage from a super heavyweight is going to be more effective than if I was a heavyweight. And I still can't pick him up. So you really got to think about what to do when you're a cruiserweight. So you got to rely more on quick grapples and strikes and springboard moves. But people like Kurt Angle have no problem. There's a table. And as you can see, the move is still going to go regardless if he got set on the table or not. Oh, and he took that away from me. As you can see, like the table, you can pretty much just stand or walk on there without much of a problem. And also, it will connect properly if you you don't have to stay on the table to smash through, if that makes sense. Depending on the situation, you could definitely put him through the table. I don't think Rey Mysterio can in this instance, but Kurt Angle definitely can. You can perform a chokeslam if you're near the table. You can 100% do that. And then also the AI logic in the superstars. Like you see Kurt Angle for the most part, since he's a technical wrestler in submission, that's all he's been doing. He does rely more on submissions than anything else. And you see, I get the most damage because I am a cruiserweight. So the more damage is just it's a give and take situation. I'm faster than most people, so I can get out of situations. I am trying to break up this submission. Come on, get to it. Why can I not break it up? Normally, I thought you could just break that up. That is strange, actually. Kurt Angle is just on a roll when it comes to these submission moves. I need the equalizer. I need a freaking table. Give me a chair. This should knock out Big Show. There, you see how it feel like I can only, the weight of this chair shots feel like they should. That's like the best way I can describe them. You can also break up the grapples as well. And now Big Show got me. I'm probably going to lose this match. Oh, damn. Oh, he got him. Get up. Whew. I think if I'm able to hit that finisher. Now, some moves, because of the situation, as you can see, Mysterio can override the whole super heavyweight thing. It's really about the lifting. Technically, Rey Mysterio did not lift him, so I guess that's their technicality of it. Because they ain't going to handicap you that much. And here's another thing. The more damage you take, they're going to be affected. So you see I'm red. That's why I'm touching the stomach. Or I guess the ribs. So that's another thing right there. Ah, and see right on top of it. Let me get out the way. Everything just, I guess the best way to describe what they did, everything just feels it has weight to it. Not just the weapons, but the superstars as well. I feel like it has weight. When you hit the Brock Lesnar's F5, it feels like exactly how it feel like if you got hit with an F5. Now all of these moves have weight to them. I can just grab something. Or Big Show just stop screwing me. He tried to put me through that table, but that was not happening. Now, Kurt. Actually, let me. Now I'm going to take Kurt Angle's win. How is it a rope break in a triple threat match? You tell me how that makes sense. It should be no disqualification, but again, they're very weird on the rules of the games that they make. You can interfere and attack someone, but there's a rope break in a triple threat match. Make it make sense, even though there is no disqualification. The game again it'll be. I think it's not until 2006 where they actually pay attention to the real life rules of the game. It's not until 2006. I don't know why Big Show is not trying to stop this, but it is what it is. Now Kurt Angle could do it again. See how referee's counting on the table? And he got him with that. Damn. Just gonna let Big Show do his thing. And hit the 619. Unfortunately, I know that Kurt Angle is gonna stop it. Now he wants to stop it. It's cool though. And now Kurt Angle's head is hurting. We have that. With Rey Mysterio, I'm going to be shocked if I win this match, because you see how I just reversed that finisher? You can reverse by hitting both buttons at the same time, but everything is timed. Like you have to have the right. It started with shut your mouth. You're going to have the precision for it. If Kurt was still down, I think I would have won the match right there. You're going to have the right precision for it. Because you mistime it, you're basically screwed. It prevents spammers who just button mash everything and hope for the best, which I do appreciate. I gotta stop doing this move. Oh, Kurt. Oh, what a smack. I'm going to let him hit his finisher. I'm going to try to... Or he's not going to hit the finisher at all. I'm going to throw him out, though. Yep, you could throw people out, I remember. And oh, wow, what a worse. Basically, there's zero... If you get enough height, there's no invisible wall. And now I'm bleeding. And yes, I was waiting for this. This is the first WWE game to have blood. And they really put an emphasis on it. I have no idea why Kurt Angle is just standing there. Could you not break out of finishers? And one thing notorious about this game is it is hard. It was one of the harder WWE games out at this time. I mean, you can master the controls, but it was a hard game. And I think I'm done. All right, this match is not going anywhere. But just wanted to showcase all of this. I think I'm going to have to update the difficulty. And the one thing I want to point out, I don't know if you noticed, even though I did cut off the soundtrack, there is no commentary in this game. And I don't think anyone really knows. I'm going to bump it up to hard. Actually, let's bump it up to SmackDown. Let this game be crazy. I think I mastered enough. I only had it on normal. We're going to bump it up to SmackDown. I would not recommend, though, if you are... The following gameplay you're going to see is not for the fainted heart. They removed the commentary because while Shut Your Mouth's commentary was fine, it wasn't as reading off a script as Just Bring It. They just figured it's not needed. They let the soundtrack actually do its thing. And honest to God, I never noticed until I remind myself, oh yeah, there is actually no commentary in this game. But again, in terms of new match types, there was two major ones. And they're positioned up, I mean, well, mainly because they're in alphabetical order. Everything else returned, and then you have the Brawl and Panties and the Elimination Chamber. We're going to do the Elimination Chamber first. We're just going to pick, for this demonstration, I'm going to pick Shawn Michaels since he won the first chamber. Who else? Let's just do some random people. Chris Benoit. Actually, let me think about this. Because I put it on Smack, I'm going to pick my main, Undertaker. I realized the difficulty I put myself in. Oh, not putting. I might put safety. Stone Cold. A-Train. Ultimo Dragon. Test. And Rob Van Dam. Just to show off the Elimination Chamber. And just again showing how everyone has a very unique moving match graphic before the start. Unfortunately, there's no entrances. It will be a very long, I mean, it's a very long time. When I say very long time, it takes a couple council generations, let's just say, before you get proper entrances when it comes to the Elimination Chamber. It takes a minute. And I am not first, but again, Elimination Chamber, for those who are unaware, 2 superstars start, 4 people in a pod. Around 5 minutes, although this game is not 5 minutes. I believe it's like more 2.5 minutes or 3. Or probably less than that, to be honest with you. And then everyone gets out. It's random. You have no idea. The first game was very random. You have no idea. And when you pin or submit a person, they get eliminated, and the last superstar remaining wins. So it's an elimination style match, but the chamber you can use to your advantage since you can't use actual weapons. I think it might actually be 3 minutes. I haven't been keeping the count, but I think, oh no, the timer's right there. You can't see it, but there's a timer right there, and I'm up next. Now, the smartest thing to do is to avoid everyone. This game sometimes is really chaotic with the AI in the chamber. The AI jumps from pods all over without hurting anything. Oh, I know. Yes, I appreciate you stopping by. None or no one. Is the name correct? No one. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I know everyone has unique names. I think the best strategy. I'm not just doing this to not fight. It is okay. I'm not doing this just to not fight. It's just the best strategy when it comes to elimination chamber. It's just the wait until you get selected to fight. That's the best way I can describe it. Because this, you can damage yourself just like that. And that's another thing I gotta show you guys, the backstage area, before we get into the season mode direction they went. I'm probably gonna have to fight Stone Cold, so I might as well just wait for him. Why get into a fight that doesn't involve me? As I say. Oh no. But give me time. Because like I said, RVD look like he's about to come near me anyway. I'm waiting for a reason to get into that ring. And RVD look like he has his attention. You see, RVD look like he's looking right at me. But I'm gonna let these two fight it out. Until there's a superstar that comes near me. Jump Dragon. It's already too hectic. I had the difficulty on SmackDown. I see Test is coming after me. So now I know to go against Test. I have difficulty set to SmackDown, which is the hardest difficulty, so I don't want to get in there yet. And you see, you can break the chamber. I guess I could have been taunting, now that I think about it in hindsight. I could have been taunting this entire time and building up my gauge. The only drawback is, I mean, to be fair, this is the first time I wouldn't expect him to do it. You can't, unlike Hell in a Cell and Steel Cage, you can't use this arena, this match type in any other match besides Survivor Series. This was a theme for the longest and still is to this day, where they only had the Elimination Chamber up until literally 2K26. Other times you had to like hack it or do it in a certain way, but now you can officially have an Elimination Chamber match in any arena. It took 2K26. We're in the year 2026. This game came out 2003. That's how long it allowed them. That's how long it took for them to have the Elimination Chamber in any arena. And wow, look at that. I just threw him. Wait, they changed it. Yes, 2K26. They updated in the patch. In patch 1.07. With that big patch that fixed everything, you can properly have a elimination chamber in every. I think the only one you can't have in it is the Performance Center. I'm not 100% sure on that, but literally every match arena you can have the elimination chamber in without going like over doing some cheat or like some inner workings, whatever. You can just straight up have. You can select the arena. Obviously, War Games is still only in the War Games arena, but elimination chamber, yes, in the year 2026. That's how long it took. That's really cool. I'm going to give credit to the developers when they actually do something. But I wish, the one thing I wish the developers would understand, they should look at Ukes. They listen to feedback. I don't know if you were watching my stream the past 2 days. We went through Just Bring It and Shut Your Mouth. Just Bring It, for all intents and purposes, is a good game. There's nothing really wrong with it. They had some criticism. The gameplay was fine. The main criticism was the story mode was very short, and it indeed was. And you know what they did the following year? They listened to fan feedback, and they made Shut Your Mouth arguably at the time the best story mode. And I still think it is, just for the free roaming aspect, the best story mode, non-linear story mode that they put out. They listened to fan feedback. That's all us fans want in a wrestling game. Just listen to the fans so the very next year you can do something. I'm not saying that's not what the current developers do, but Ukes had no problem listening because they know their audience. Now let me get in the ring. Screw it. We're gonna make everyone's here, so I'm gonna fight. I'm doing nothing while I'm out here. I just think Just Bring is the weakest time. Oh yeah, here's how I look at my opinion of Just Bring is this. It's a step. I mean, I think I titled it "The Illusion of the Next Generation," the original title before I switched it, because I think that sums it up perfectly. It looks like a next generation game. It is on a next generation console, PS2, but it literally played like the PS1 games. And there was nothing wrong with the PS1 games, but that's the point. It was a PS1 game on a PS2 disc on a PS2 console. You paid a PS2 price. And someone just got eliminated, which was Test. And that was essentially the biggest problem for that. Was it a bad game? And even the review, look at the Metacritic score. Just the critics, they said that the gameplay itself fine. Just for a next gen experience, they thought they were getting something better than the PS1 games, but it was just played the same as PS1 in a very short story mode. Like, the concept was there. I understood the vision that they were trying to go for. They were trying to be more cinematic. But they only had a year to develop it, and they probably were new to the PS2, and they took that feedback. They understood the assignment, and that's why we got this Shut Your Mouth. Just listen. Listen to the people that play your game every year. That's all there is to it. And chokeslam. I don't know why RD is just staying there. Of course, when I do a finisher, people want to kick out. Everyone else did one finisher. As you saw, I'm not going to jump on there because I'm not an idiot. They probably, if I was like Rey Mysterio, you can actually get on the pod on top. And if you had a finisher, you could do, if your finisher was cried on the top rope, like RVD's doing right now because he's crazy. And look at him. That's why he just fell. Okay, RVD's crazy. You could very well do your finisher on top of the pod. You can't do that in 2K26. Don't ask why. I wish I had the answer for that. How was the game from 2003? But we'll get to that when we get there eventually, when we get to the new developers. And now RVD bleeding. They really wanted, like, that was another good selling point, like the blood. Like, yes, there's blood in the game now. There has been blood in a WWE game, at least on this, on the PlayStation side. So they really wanted to emphasize that, at least in the SmackDown. So let me correct myself. Ever since Ukes took over. Oh, you can also do top rope moves to get a wrestler on the outside. Finishers, not moves. Yeah, you can do top rope moves. Wait, could you elaborate on that? Do you mean, I mean, like, in terms of the Elimination Chamber, you can do your finisher from on top of the pod. Why is RVD just standing there? That was very strange of RVD to do. Like, here I am. I'm going to regret this, so I'm not going to do that. I just show you, like, get on top. Okay, let me take out 8. Why is RVD doing it? I don't know why he did that. That makes no sense. Finishers, not moves. Yes. That's what you meant. Okay. Now A-Train's out. I'm just gonna let RVD and them do their thing. You see, like, the damage again. That was main reason why they had no problem showing the body now in your HUD, in your superstar HUD, because they really want to show you once you get red, you're gonna get screwed. And it really, again, they wanted to add some simulation to the matches, not just arcade. Like, getting damage actually matters now. So I'm gonna let Stone Cold do his thing. Actually, he really wants me. All right. I'm in a normal match. You can use a spinneroonie as a taunt. You are somehow able to perform top row finishers even though you're on the ground. Oh, really? And you're somehow able to perform top row finishers even though you're on the ground. I did not know that part. Oh, yes, you could use a spinneroonie as a taunt, but I did not know that second part. So then you learn something new. Let him hit that stunner, and he can pin him. And then I will deal. If RVD kicks out, I would be shocked. What is your favorite memory of Here Comes the Pain? No one, if you don't mind me asking. Again, I personally think, as you see the title, it's the standard that no other WWE game was able to match. He's broken in half, yes. This has been this. No one has been yet to reach it. I don't know if you was there early in the stream. I'll just explain the reason why. This was just simply a gameplay overhaul update to them. But somehow by just doing that, they made the greatest game of all time. How did Stone Cold reverse that? With my cousin yesterday, and that should tell you all I was gonna get into that, how this game just will not die today in the year 2026. I was gonna get into that a little bit later. This game just will not die, but we'll get into that a little later. I mean, it's not as competitive as, obviously, you know, Smash Brothers and Melee or whatnot, but there's still a competitive scene here. Yes, indeed. For this game. Like, people still use this to this day for certain stuff. And like, see what I mean? Where this will give you, the one thing about this game, you have to pay attention. One slip up, and especially on SmackDown difficulty, the CPU has you. Like, they just have you. There's nothing much you can do. If you one slip up on SmackDown difficulty, it's going to be hard to come back. Because the reversals are more precision than just spamming it. And again, some unique stuff like that, even when the superstars on the ground, you can get them into one of those states, either the quick, the signature, powerful, or submission. I mean, I mean, but they don't register as, I get what you know, like, you could just hit square on anything 9 out of 10 times it will work. By separating, because as you know, prior to this game, it was just all in the square button. That's what I meant by spamming. You can't spam it because it's on 2 different buttons now. You can't just hit square and hope for the best. You have to predict. Before, in the previous games, you didn't have to predict. You literally just hit square and just have fun. Because they separated 2 reversals in this game with striking, you can't just hit it. Like, you can't just hit both at the same time, because that only works if the opponent's doing a finishing move. See what I'm trying to say? Yes, you can still rapidly hit one of the 2 reversal buttons, but it won't mean anything if I'm doing the opposite of what you're hitting. Yeah, that's what I meant. I mean, like, spamming, like, you're literally hitting one button. By separating the reversals, that stops to bring this back. But when you say bring this back, this game or the reversal system? It also destroyed a lot of controls. Well, that's why they had to revamp the whole system. I just want to specify, did you meant the game or the reversal system? Because I know our reversal system in the current games are vastly different than now. The reversal system. Again, we're gonna, so again, I don't know if you're new, if this is the first time you're seeing on this is the first time you're on my stream. This is a 25-day event. I'm going through the entire history of the main WWE games to see how we got to 2K26, and it ends with 2K25. When we get to those franchises, I will touch on that more. I'm trying to keep it more of a chronological order where the focus is on the current game and the previous ones. Yes. Like I said, I don't know if you're new. That's this whole event we're going through every day. I prepped this event for like the past 2 months behind the scenes. I just haven't talked about it. Where we're gonna be just going through the whole history of the games every day. I think this, if my math is correct, it concludes on May 11th or the 10th, if my math is correct. So we're eventually gonna get to the 2K series. Don't you worry about that. But the next match I want to show you, the new one, is the Brawl and Panties matches. Now, we gotta be adults in the room here. Yes, I know this is one of those matches where it's a product of its time, and depending on who you ask, oh, this is bad. Oh, how dare they do this? This is the year 2003. This was the Ruthless Aggression era. WWE was rated TV 14. This was perfectly fine. I know in today's product, this would not pass. If you ask me personally, I never had an issue with it. Because I was a kid. I didn't really care. I really didn't care. As a kid, you don't care much about the divas. You just care about the actual wrestler. That's what most of the kids like. I like the women's wrestlers. Don't get me wrong, Lita, Trish Stratus, whatever. But as a kid, you're focused more on the men than the women. I wasn't a teenager yet. That's what I'm saying. Like people, I feel like, so like that's what I think people don't understand. You have to understand when you're a kid, you don't really care about that. But yeah, we're gonna play it. I just want to, quick disclaimer. I don't care if even if they brought it back. I know this is a match type that they will never bring back. Oh shit, there was another one, First Blood. The two match sites that they will never bring back is First Blood or Brawl and Panties, which is funny about First Blood because I think it is technically in the game. You could just like toggle it. It's not like an official match type you could just set there. But those are the two, essentially the main match that they won't bring back, at least First Blood officially, but Brawl and Panties they're never going to bring back. Just had to, just do that little TED talk real quick. And now we're going to go to Brawl and Panties. At least by doing this, I can showcase the women's wrestlers. So yeah, Stacy Keibler, Tori Wilson, Trish Stratus. It's not in 2K25. It is not in 2K25. First Blood, you mean? Like I said, I'm not 100%. I am not 100% sure on First Blood. I believe there's a way you can like toggle it, but like had the finish of the match end in First Blood. I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, Stacy Keibler, Tori Wilson, Trish Stratus, Victoria, Jazz, Lita, Sable, and that's it. So it's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 women's wrestlers. So we're not that stage yet where they have almost an equal amount as the men. But hey, this was a product of its time. I mean, for the most part, they got pretty much everyone on the roster. The only people missing, which we'll go over eventually, is like Molly Holly off the top of my head. But they pretty much, and Dawn Marie. But Dawn Marie was more of a 2004-ish prominent women's wrestler. So who's your favorite diva this year? So I guess story time, as I'll pick Lita. I guess you could argue it's Lita. So here's the thing. As a kid, I wasn't the richest. My family wasn't the richest of people. We were poor. I have no problem saying that. We were only able to afford network TV. So I wasn't able to watch Raw with the women's title. I was forced to watch SmackDown. That's why I remember so fondly of stuff like the whole Tori Wilson Sable story, Dawn Marie, those stories. I didn't actually, so that's the thing. It's sad because my perception of the women's wrestlers were based on SmackDown and how they acted. Because I didn't really watch Raw outside of the Raw Rebound back then. Because we didn't have, my only again, if it wasn't for the Raw rebound and my neighbors having the pay-per-views and have so I could watch Raw over there, I would have no idea what's going on until Raw, until around 2006. that was until 2006. So my so what I perceived with the women's division, Trish Stratus, why not, was purely based on what they were doing on SmackDown. And if you were watching SmackDown during this time of progression era, it was a different era. Let's just say the storylines that you see on the best way to describe it, the storylines that you would see back then will never happen here with the women. But it's a product of its time. No one had an issue with it, and honestly, people who grew up with it still don't have an issue with it. It's people who didn't grow up with it suddenly having a problem with it, which I can understand from their lens, because they weren't receptive to it. Like they didn't grow up with it. Is what I'm trying to say. I know Raw wasn't any better, but at least by them having a women's title, I would imagine, and rightfully so, there was some women's wrestling, because I mean, you had Molly Holly, Trish Stratus, Victoria on that side, and Lita. But that's what I'm trying to say. Like, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. It wasn't any better, I know. But SmackDown, since there was no women's title before, it was just a straight story that was selling the women's, and that's what I'm trying to say. I mean, the benefit of the one upside to the bra and panties match, I know it's crazy to say, is that they have alternate attires for the women. So like, not a lot of the men's superstars has alternate attires in this game, only like the top superstars. But at least every woman had an extra attire. Not for like for any other reason besides this match, of course, which we're going to demonstrate. But yeah. And they're telling you exactly how to do bra and panties match. So like, you would do a pinfall. Instead, you're just going to rip their clothes off. That's essentially what's going to happen here. So who was your favorite diva in this era? No one, if you don't mind me asking. She's like, I was trying. This is what I mean with the Legends difficulty. They will reverse everything. I mean, for the most part, it's just a regular. You see how fast that was? It's gonna be a minute, guys. Is there no disqualification? I think there is no disqualification. It has to be no disqualification, right? Sable. I mean, she was a fine. I mean, was she the best wrestler in the world? Oh, he came and exited the ring. I was gonna say, can I just use a chair? He came and exited the ring. And she was on SmackDown too, yeah. I mean, we had the VHS tapes of the Best of the Attitude Era of Raw, so I knew who Sable was. It'd been a minute since we last seen her until she reappeared like in 2002, 2003. So it's like my last recollection of Sable back then was back in 1998 and 9. When she like Sable Bond, Mark Mero, and whatnot. Obviously, I didn't know she was married to Brock Lesnar at the time, because back then I was a SmackDown. I was forced to be a SmackDown kid, even though when I grew up I always preferred Raw. I even though it's funny because my favorite wrestler of all time is The Undertaker, which he was literally on SmackDown ever since once the brand split happened. He was a SmackDown guy, heart and soul. He bleed blue, as you would say. But even though I always just preferred the Raw brand. I don't know what it was. I know it's so crazy to say that, because it's like the way they did the brand split back then, it felt like two different shows. Like, you know, my favorite wrestler is The Undertaker, and he was on SmackDown. Raw was like more, I always tell people this, back then, this is why it was worth watching both shows. It's not nowadays. I'm not saying it's not like nowadays where, I'm not saying they're interchangeable, but there was a reason you get two different experiences watching both shows. Raw was very story driven. Obviously there was wrestling, but it was more story driven. You care about the stories more, and the superstars on there were proof of that. Triple H, the whole Evolution storyline, Shawn Michaels' rendition, the whole rivalry between Shawn Michaels and Triple H, like stuff like that. And there was like good wrestlers on there, Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho, Christian. But then you had like SmackDown. It was like it was the in ring. It was the more of the matches that mattered more than the actual story. I'm not saying there was no stories, but you remember SmackDown more because of their 5-star matches that they would put on every week. I guess you would say. And like that's like, and that was what I. This was the era where WWE was literally competing against themselves because they bought WCW, because they bought ECW. There was no competition. Yes, I know TNA existed at this point, but for all intents and purposes, there was no competition. So, what is Lita's finisher? I could have sworn it was a Twist of Fate, but it's the inverse. The quality matches were so good because they were literally trying to get the better rating for each show. That's what you would do. This was back then. There was no spot like this. They were literally just trying to just compete against themselves. And it works to a certain extent, but then you get bored when the same person writing the show. But like I said, that's why it was worth watching both shows. Like you can watch both shows, get a completely different experience. 2 set of titles. I mean, it still is it is like that now, but that's why it's like you got to have a hard brand split. I should not, for example, obviously, for those watching on demand, if you're gonna watch this after the fact, WrestleMania just happened. There is no reason why I should be seeing the WWE champion on Raw if you have a World Heavyweight title on there. I mean, it didn't hurt the show by any means, but like this is what I mean, where it's like the shows didn't matter. If I wanted to see Undertaker, I had to watch SmackDown. They have it to a certain extent in the modern day, but that was literally what it was back then. You gotta see Undertaker. You want to see Triple H when he's doing with Evolution? You can only watch it on Raw. See the great in-ring work. Oh, you see Lita. Whoa, I gotta do my finishers. Is it not? Okay. I know one of her finishers is on the top rope. Yeah, 2006 at a time, SmackDown was like the top show on there. I remember we were watching. Me and my brother was watching both. I don't know why I went for. I don't know why I went for the pin. I shouldn't have been able to go on. We were watching both shows. Check from behind. Okay, yeah, that's probably one of her finishers. Okay, got the top off. Running direction circle. I forgot, yeah. And that's how you get behind him. I completely forgot. Thanks for that. I appreciate that, no one. Thank you. Oh, that is a very, you know what? That is a very unique way to pull off someone's pants. I had no idea it was like this. I thought that was very unique. I gotta call that out. I thought I was doing a schoolboy. That is actually pretty cool. As crazy as the sentence I just said. Like I said, I never played this match. I mean, I did play it. I think I played it once as a kid. I just went through all the match types. What a time to pause. I know. I just had to point that out. I respect it. You see, it's crazy that I respect the art of what the developers were doing. They made it unique. Like this. Like, you see, I didn't know what she was about to do, but now I understood what she was trying to do. Okay, I really got to hit my finisher. Well, if she hits my finisher, I mean, if she hits the finisher, I think I'm done. I know what a time to pause. Again, a very unique way of doing it. Oh, come on. Having SmackDown difficulty, it gives you a run for your money. I will say that. Oh, damn. She's just reversing everything. I'm trying to be smart about it. There we go. They kept using him until 2000. Well, because they kind of had to switch it because they went a completely different direction. Starting with 2007 and 8. They kind of had no choice, which I have no problem with. We'll get there in the coming days. Come on. There we go. I win. Hey, at least you can say the matches are competitive, right? There's a skill set to this. And I can't believe I'm saying this. There is a skill set when it comes to bra and panties matches. Probably a clippable thing right there, what I just said. It takes a certain skill to play this match. I know people say this will. I mean, yes, this match will never. That's. I mean, at least the one thing with this match in these games, they will never do this. Obviously, in real life now, but again, it's a product of its time. I'm not. It's not that big of a deal. It's a game, and plus, even when it was the matches on the show, it wasn't. It's not skills. Yes, people. I feel like people take. So I know it's crazy as it says coming from a wrestling fan. People take wrestling way too seriously. What we're seeing on the show is not. I hear I'm not going a whole tangent of wrestling, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say. No one. Obviously, what we see on TV is not real. They're not purposely pulling off their clothes to humiliate them. It's just part of the show. If it was all there was no crowd in the show and they filmed like a regular show, no one would have an issue. It's just it's a double-edged sword of professional wrestling. When you present it to a crowd and it's live scripted entertainment, they perceive everything what you see as real, but it's like it's a show. They don't actually hate each other. They're not trying to kill each other unless they really. I mean, it depends on the superstar, obviously, but it's just like yeah, people take it way too seriously. And I guess for this demonstration, First Blood. Who is a best wrestler to use a First Blood? Brock Lesnar. If I hit that F5, it's gonna work. I already used them. The pedigree, Triple H. Loud man. Well, so the thing about my streams, I'm actually this is more of a documentary style stream. I'm just showcasing. Yeah, I was gonna go with Triple H. I'm not saying I'm not gonna do a ladder triple threat, but if we have time, this is more just showcasing the overall of the game. That running knee is so okay. Yeah, I know the pedigree is gonna do it. Because right after this, we're gonna go into season mode. Like I said, I prepped this event for 2 months. It's not scripted, obviously, because we're doing this live. But what I'm trying to say is, I have a agenda, a format. I'm not saying if we have time, I have no problem. Since you're kind of one of the first people who's been in this chat longer than like 2 minutes, and I really do appreciate that. No one. So if we have time, I have no problem doing a requested match. But there's just some stuff I want to go through. Because I mean, you could watch. I'm trying to make my channel different than other people here in the community. You can watch anyone play just the game, but I'm trying to show why these games mattered. Why certain aspects is in this game, it's not in the other games. That's what I'm trying to do. Yeah, right after this match, we're gonna look at the season mode. I really do appreciate you being here while it's live. So again, one of the things about this game, since this is now fully in Ruthless Aggression era, they have the specific pay-per-views now. I appreciate you appreciating me putting the effort into this. I try to make stuff different. Again, there's gonna be a little tangent. Since I grew up on these games, that's what I'm trying to do. I feel like the problem with our community, I'm not calling anyone out. I feel like the problem with our community, they kind of live in the moment, I guess is what the nicest way of saying it. What I mean is, every year we know these games come out every year, right? I completely understand. For a lot of the YouTubers, they I mean, I'm guilty of this. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm holier than thou. A lot of these YouTubers, they just focus on the current game and then they just move on. It's like a factory. They make the next game, they move on to that. There's like, these games are good for most of them, but we're gonna go through some that are not so good. Hey, great stream. I dropped by to give a thumbs up. Awesome stream day Raw. Stop by and say what's up. Love this game. You're streaming WWE Raw. You mean the first Raw or Raw 2? Because again, the Raw, they were named both WWF Raw and WWE Raw, depending on when you got it. But I appreciate you stopping by the turf. Thank you. If I could watch your stream right now, I would. I think YouTube has a feature though, where you can have a live reaction to someone's stream. I don't know how to implement that. I do appreciate you stopping by. But as I said, people, I just feel like in this community move past these games too quickly. They don't really appreciate them, and they just pump out videos of these games and they don't care. That's like, I'm saying this wrong. I don't mean to say this stuff, but like they pump them out for the sake of pumping them out. We're gonna get to, oh, don't worry. We're gonna get to the era of those games. I don't want to spoil which game that is. Trust me. I'm not saying be here every day, but if you can stop by at 8 p.m. every day until like get through the whole series, you're gonna see which games I'm talking about that describe exactly the feeling that I have, and that's why I wanted to do this series. The whole point of this event that I prepped since 2 months ago. I prepped this event since behind the scenes. I was completely silent on this. This event has been in the making since like mid-February. I want to show, like, again, how did we get to the game that we currently have, 2K16? What are my thoughts on 2K16? I mean, I don't really want to talk about it that much because it's not really any different than what everyone's currently saying on YouTube. The gameplay is fantastic. It's best it's been for years. But there's just other aspects of this game that's holding it back from being better than Here Comes the Pain. Like, we can finally have something that says better Here Comes the Pain. 2K26 is probably the closest we're ever going to get to that. And it's probably going to be 2K27 because, like, the gameplay has definitely improved. I feel like we're going to get to that. But the reason why I made this series, because it's like, how did we get to this point? Why are the current 4 a.m. here? Oh, where are you from, if you don't mind me asking? I didn't realize I had people watching me outside the United States. Well, first of all, thank you for even stopping by. That means a lot. You talk about 2K26 PS3 or PS4. No, well, 2K26 only came out on current gen system. Oh, Finland. Well, I appreciate you dropping by from Finland. Now, I'm not trying to be American here, pretend like I don't know my places. Finland's in Europe, right? Am I tripping? Finland's in Europe or Australia? I'm not trying to say I'm dumb, but I feel like this is Europe. It can't be. No, that wouldn't make any sense. It is. Yes. Yes to Australia, yes to Europe. Russia. Okay, so Europe. Okay. Gotcha. Thanks. But yeah, appreciate you stopping by from Finland, but 2K26 is only on current gen. PS5, Xbox Series S and X. And then the PC. I'm a PC player. I don't know what system you have. And First Blood. Got it. And now we're going to look at season mode. And the difference is that was in Shut Your Mouth. I mean, I understand if you got to check out soon. It's like 4 a.m. But I really do appreciate you stopping by, though. Again, just new anime. Like, they really wanted to emphasize the blood in this game. Like, to the point where most of the advertisements back in the day, which we will look at later. There was really emphasis like, yeah, we got blood in this game. As I want to point out the menu, this is what sold this game as considered the greatest game of all time. Exhibition, create, season, and options. Right now, we're going to go through season mode. New season. So, just quick thing. The cool thing about this is that the stuff carries over. Unlike Shut Your Mouth, which is 2 years and you complete it. And some stuff does carry over. The title history is going to carry over, match records, superstar points, attributes. So basically, yeah, for this game, yes. We're going to be looking at that in the content stuff section. Essentially, everything matters. So once you complete the year, even though it's only a 1 year season, everything that happened, either with your superstar or anything else around you, they matter, which is very cool. It gives the game replay value. Can't say the same about the current games though, but we'll get there. We'll get that. So one of the things about this game that was different from Shut Your Mouth was Shut Your Mouth. You could look at this list, but you couldn't do anything. But now you can actually control who appears in the season most. Like, for example, Roddy Piper, I can make him appear. For the sake of this, I'm just going to have everyone appear, even though they're legends. For the sake of this, we're just going to have everyone appear. And you can see the champions on top. You check the stables, evolution. And can you figure out who were the main characters in the year 2003 by looking at the stables? It was evolution. This was back So obviously with current games, you didn't have to make, or you couldn't make multiple variations of the stable. It's just one you just call it a day. This is back. No idea. Yeah. It was evolution. You had to separate everyone to get every combination of the stable, but at least they made it work and just showing you the stables here, and they're brand specific, where they're pointed to. And here's the other thing. You can see officially the roster. Just they took out the draft, but you can switch people over. So for example, unfortunately you're a champ, you can't switch them, but let's just say Undertaker, I can now either select him or I can just put him on that side, I believe. You see, I can just put Undertaker on that side, even though I'm going to keep him on SmackDown. You can switch over, and during the story mode, I believe you can actually trade shows as well. I'm like 90% sure you can trade shows. But yeah, and it shows the champions. And again, they added the titles now. So it was pretty much for the most part updated. The only one that's not updated is the hardcore title. That was on SmackDown. Yeah. Oh yeah, he was 100%. He wasn't, again, people tend to forget the development cycle of this game because we're in a different development cycle. These games used to come out in September, from October and November. So pretty much development stopped right before, either on or right before SummerSlam. So anything that happened prior to August of that year, it usually wasn't included. So case in point, Survivor Series 2002 hosts the Elimination Chamber, even though it was SummerSlam that happened this year in 2003. So there was a cutoff point. That's why Tajiri is still on SmackDown, even though I know at this point he was on Raw. And certain people, hence why the hardcore title is still here, even though it got unified by this point. Although I feel like I have a theory, the reason why they kept the hardcore title, because they wanted essentially a counterpart to the Cruiserweight title. They wanted both shows to have an equal amount of titles. And since they knew you couldn't pick a diva in season mode, that's why they kept it the way it was. So that's just my theory, personally. That's the reason why. So you have the new tag team titles, the United States title, the Cruiserweight title, which is the lightweight title and Shut Your Mouth, the hardcore title remain, the Intercontinental title remain. The tag team titles got updated to their Ruthless Aggression design, and then you have the World Heavyweight title. And then another thing you could do, you can determine who's a face or heel. So this is one of the new things in this game. It's only specifically for season mode. It has no bearing impact on the exhibition. Either you're a face or a heel. This is the early stage of giving superstars a personality. So you can either be a good guy. The next game, which we'll look at tomorrow, really took this and they cranked it up. So now the superstars are even more personality driven than ever before. They don't just look like them, like their actions actually matter, depending on if you're a face or a heel. You can see who's on the face or heel side. Yes, John Cena was a heel during this era. So for those who would not believe it, and people like Edge was a face, if you wouldn't believe it. But for the purpose of this, we're just gonna pick Brock Lesnar because not only is he a champion, so depending on your ranking, so we talked about superstar points and whatnot. So there's so many. So the reason why people critically acclaim this season mode for multiple things, depending on the superstar, you're going to get a completely different experience. Yes, there's essentially some storylines that are just going to play out no matter what, depending on the month. But for example, if you're a champion, you hold that title for the most part, you're going to get some championship specific storylines throughout the whole season. If you're an undercard guy, you're going to have the undercard storylines that have nothing to do with anything. And you go for the tag team titles, you go that route. It's very non-linear. It's kind of like a branching. The best way to describe it, if you have branching paths. There's no linear. There are certain stuff that you're going to hit no matter what position you're in, like SummerSlam to Survivor Series. There's this part where you're going to form a stable event, or if you don't do that, you go through the Elimination Chamber. There's certain stuff that's going to happen no matter what. But in the beginning month before SummerSlam, it's very dependent on your position on a card. So we're just going to pick the top person, the Brock Lesnar, the current champion. And you have a choice between the season mode or his original overall. Essentially, if you were to create a superstar, or like me, I was playing as Brock Lesnar, you could use their season mode stats or their original stats and upgrade them there. Or if I did not play as anyone, that's why they said everything carries over. Since I never play as Booker T, I'll be starting off as 10, which means I'll be starting at very bottom of the card. Or if I could use his original stats, I'll probably be competing for the Intercontinental title. See what I'm trying to say? Also, if you win the World Championship at the end of your first playthrough, you start a season, seeing wrestler story continue. Exactly. I didn't, like I said, that's why that caution thing they showed you before you started. They just want to say everything. Essentially, everything matters in this season mode. That's why people liked it. Shut Your Mouth had a similar thing to a point, but it was 2 full years. So everything mattered in those full 2 years. But this one, even though it's 1 year, everything matters. They remember everything. Even if you start a new season, they remember everything that you did. All of it matters. So regardless who you pick, everyone has the same opening, which I always thought was cool. Or he's gonna skip it. Again, this was the era where they made everything cinematic. They really leaned on it. They really went and had that TV presentation. See, WrestleMania was a huge success. I forgot what I did at WrestleMania, to be honest with you. The main event was awesome. They're still talking about it. Like, they're referencing it. And again, whoever was the champion before you hit the new season, I guess was Brock Lesnar. Now, if I wasn't champion, so let's just say I was the Rock, right? If I wasn't champion, and because I'm the Rock and I know his status as his placement, he would have been on Raw, and I compete for World Heavyweight title. Eric Bischoff, who's the Raw general manager, probably would have told me I can compete for the world title. If I was someone like John Cena, I probably had to do a random storyline or requested Eric Bischoff, which I'm going to show you, or Stephanie McMahon in this case, to fight for United States title. Since I'm Brock Lesnar, I'm essentially forced in these championship situations. You could go after other titles as well. You could go after the tag team titles. Like, you're not just stuck with one title. You can go after tag team titles. I believe you can also go after the Intercontinental title, as long as you're not in the story. You go after, like, I remember as a kid, my greatest superstar in Goldberg, we literally dominated Raw. I was the World Heavyweight Champion and one half of the tag team champion with Goldberg, and he was the Intercontinental Champion. He won the World. You can't make this up. The whole main event was just me and him. I wish I could make this up. This is how crazy this is. He won the Royal Rumble, and he fought me for the world title. And even though, at the end, we basically kept all our titles, and we just dominated the whole show. That's how crazy you can get into this mode. And Lisa, I'm counting on you. Yep. Like I said, it depends on your positioning of the card. And again, they're assuming that I was and he was champion coming out of WrestleMania. So, the one thing I didn't like this season was that the other titles after winning them doesn't matter. You're right. Yes, that is true, unfortunately. You're right. And now Kurt Angle. So it looked like I fought Kurt Angle, or I don't even think I was Brock Lesnar. I guess I did fight Kurt Angle at WrestleMania, or it was just that was the match before I restarted it. So now we're in the storyline of the person wanting the rematch. Had I not been champion, this would be I would more than likely be fighting for a number one contendership for the title. Or if I was already in contention, I would now, basically the roles would be reversed, and I am now chasing after the champion. Like, they're right there. You talk about the storyline, but the other thing I didn't like, oh, I misread it. My apologies. After winning them doesn't matter. Yes, that is true. Most of the storylines focus, so basically, you're right about that. When it comes to the storylines, they only pertain to your world title. You defending the Intercontinental title, United States title, as long as you're not in the storyline, that's when you defend it. It is what it is there. This storyline only pertains to the World Championship. So if you was the United States champion or Intercontinental champion, you more than likely will not get this storyline. You'll probably get I don't exactly remember. I see what you were talking about. I don't exactly remember the story that you would have gotten, but it's not this one. This is preset just for the world title, either on Raw or SmackDown. That's what I now understood what you meant. Did I get that right? No, I think that's what you meant. I apologize for that. And then you get some random stuff. Now, sometimes these play out randomly during the scene, but now they want to play it here. Here I am. You did. Yeah, that's what I knew you meant that. You have a beauty contest. And now, for some reason, I'm commentating. The irony is, who should I pick as a winner? Let's see. Go lawyer, yeah. Sable and it's like you can't make this up. Geez, I wonder who should I pick. Tori Wilson or Brock Lesnar? I guess at the time, weren't they already in a relationship at this point? I believe they were. We're just gonna pick Sable. And now she won. I don't think at this point, yeah, because I'm thinking about the timeline here. They would have been making this game around in 2002 going to 2003. So I don't even think they would have been aware of the whole relationship to begin with, the developers, but I'd probably even been aware. But so I just want to show you guys, again, the main thing that they took out that was in Shut Your Mouth was there is no roaming around backstage. There's pros and cons to that. I never had an issue with that because for two reasons. One, it makes playing Shut Your Mouth that much more fun. If they had it in Here Comes the Pain, it would basically make Shut Your Mouth pointless. So there's one aspect. And also there's no draft in this game, so that's also a cool thing. It makes Shut Your Mouth even more important. And second, you really didn't, unless you interact with one of the superstars, and sometimes they don't appear, it made the roaming aspect pointless. It was just essentially a hub to go to your unlockables thing. Look at the unlockables as you didn't unlock. But that was it. But let me show you the GM room. Now, unfortunately, half this stuff I won't be able to, it won't matter. Because this is essentially your hub of you want a title shot. Again, I'm in a story. They're literally flat out telling you, since you're involved in the storyline, when I've had some free time, this is where you will fight for the Intercontinental title, tag team titles, or if you were cruiserweight, the cruiserweight title. I can request a show transfer, but I can't do that. You can't just do that. You see? When that belt is not weighing on. You see, so you get, that's how you know there's no draft. You want to transfer shows. You can do that, and then you check your superstar points. I'm about to show you. I am 94. Yep, and you can exit. Here's why the superstar points matter. I'm about to show you. In my opinion, Shut Your Mouth roaming sucked ass because trolls are finding people. Yeah, they really, because they mapped it to the D-pad, you couldn't use the analog sticks. Because even if you did try to use the analog sticks, it would just revert back to the camera that it was already positioned at. It did. I mean, it had its drawback, but it's just cool, like just roaming around. Let me switch screens real quick. I cannot see this thanks to that. You can, this is where I'm looking for the profile, the title info. There we go. So like I said, your champions, even though I never understood why they showed this because you can't play as a woman in story mode. I guess they just wanted to have it. So since I'm Brock, here's my contenders list. So only people who have 85 superstar points. Remember, I have 94. So the only two people who could fight me, as you see, was Kurt Angle and The Undertaker. Unless there's storyline reasons. Otherwise, these are the only two people that can actually contend for my title. And for on Triple H's side, is The Rock and Stone Cold. So same thing with the Intercontinental title. Now you can see, now this is back. I will get into this later when we get to the other games where even if you're a champion, you see you can still compete. So obviously you still be number one contender for the Intercontinental title by default because he has the most points. The Triple H really wanted to go for the hardcore title and just be the king of the whole world. He can do that. And that's pretty much what I want to show you. The main thing I also want to show you is, yeah, so I did play. I got Times Square. Other thing I want to show you is the shop zone. So let me switch to this screen. You see that? You have cash. So when you win matches, you get cash. This was the virtual currency, as you would like to call it nowadays, back in the day. You didn't actually have to spend real life money because you couldn't spend real life money. You just earn points through the game, and with that, you can unlock some stuff. I know that's probably a foreign concept, and if you ask a person who just play the current games, but yeah, you just play the story mode. It was a reason to play the story mode. You unlock stuff. You can unlock some moves. Unlock the legend, which was the main unlockable superstars in this game. This was the introduction of legends, so this was the first game to do that. You have Jimmy Superfly Snuka, the $1 Million Man, Sergeant Slaughter, the old school version of the Undertaker, Animal and Hawk of the Road Warriors, and you can unlock certain arenas, backstage arenas like Times Square, an alternate for SmackDown and Raw, WrestleMania 19, SummerSlam, and Rebellion. The loading screens, yes, the good old loading screens in this game. Depending on, hopefully you didn't load on a Diva. The Rock, like I said, alternate attires, even though he started that with Shut Your Mouth. Or Rock, Stone. Like I said, it's mainly just the main superstars: The Rock, Stone Cold, Triple H, Undertaker, Rob Van Dam, Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, Kane. Kane's alternate attire is actually, so the thing about Kane's alternate attire, they were able to quickly put in his updated attire. They made sure to have his updated attire without the mask. But you get this attire, he has his 2002 to mid 2003 look with the mask. So you ever wanted to play as Kane 2002 to 2003 when you hit that specific visor or mask, this is the way to do it. Big Show, Edge, Scott Steiner, Stephanie, Vince, Eric Bischoff, Ric Flair, Rico, Brock Lesnar, and Shawn Michaels. And then you have different, like I said, women also had a lot of alternate attires for Tori, Sable, Stacy, Trish, Lita, Jazz, and Victoria. And then the Diva loading screens, as you already mentioned, no one. You would have to, hey, again, here's the thing. Ukes knew their audience. That's all I'm going to say. They know their audience. I don't know the current developers. They even know what their audience is. They knew their audience. They knew the people who played their games. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with catering to audience, because at the end of the day, these are the people who are going to invest in your games. And there's literally nothing wrong with that. We're in this weird era where I understand you're trying to sell to everyone, but there's an old saying, we're trying to talk and sell to everyone, you end up talking and selling to no one. I know that's not really the exact phrasing, but you get my point. When you try to cater to everyone, you cater to no one. The way the current game positioning is, that's exactly what they're trying to do, and they wonder why there's such a divide. It's like everyone cannot agree on everything, even though the internet didn't exist as it was back then. I'm pretty sure everyone has zero complaints how the direction of this game was, because this was catered towards a very specific audience, the wrestling audience. And that's why everything was fine. But let's just get into the match. Again, it's pretty much the same screen for we start with Shut Your Mouth. It just shows a quick lineup, just 3 matches you can watch. Steven Richards, whatever. Now you can play. I'm in a cage match with Kurt Angle, and if I win, so you get a bonus. So it's enticing to become champion, because when you're a champion, you actually have a bonus for just regular matches as well as the pay-per-views if you win them. So that's always a good thing, essentially. Unfortunately, there's no entrances when it comes to cage matches, so we go right in there, which is very strange, because I think there's entrances in Hell in a Cell. I never understood that. I believe there was entrances in Hell in a Cell. And we have not reached a point yet where you can exit the cage door, so you have to only in season mode. Oh yeah, it's like that cinematic. Like I said, they really took the cinematic thing where it's lowering the cage. I distinctly remember that for the Hell in a Cell. You're absolutely right. That's why I was like, I could have swore there was entrances for that. So I knew I was right. I just forgot what it was a part of. I just want to just show you what's going to happen after this match. We're going to get out of story mode, because there's other stuff I want to talk about. And then if we have time, I might actually do your request of that match that you requested. No one. Can only shoot for like 2 hours, but if there was more people, I'll probably go longer. But I tend to shoot for. I formatted everything to go around 2 hours. The amount of stuff I wanted to talk about. But, yeah, no problem. But I think with our conversation, we're kind of a little past that. So I'm actually running low on time. So we're only going to probably do one match to show you the cutscene afterwards. I really just wanted to showcase what they did with the season mode here. Hey, this is what I kind of wanted to do live anyway. Part of the reason why I wanted to do live. I knew with doing live, it's just a lot more better doing it this way. And again, it's kind of a crapshoot when it comes to taking someone off the cage. There's no like bar. And like I said, Kurt Angle's his his reversal, yeah, is crazy. I think him and Chris Benoit have like the highest stat when it comes to reversing. They just reverse everything. You cannot touch these guys, especially on SmackDown difficulty. You just can't. Good luck. Like they just him and Chris Benoit. They just reverse everything. The best way to pull them down. Really? Okay. Oh, because you're running it. Okay, I didn't think of it like that. Let me try. Yep. You see, I appreciate that, no one. Thank you. And I don't think we reached the point where you can get pinfall and submission in the cage yet. So unfortunately, I'm forced to climb out. And Kurt Angle did exactly what you said to do. It's funny how that works, isn't it? Irish whip him to the exposed turnbuckle. Is there one? I gotta take it off myself. I guess I'll do that myself. Are they chanting USA? There we go. More damage. And then a certain... I think it's the first game, too. They did the exposed turnbuckle. So thanks for pointing that out. I appreciate that. I don't know why I did it so close. I was so close. Why would he try to... Did he not... That's just so disrespectful. He saw me get out. I mean, he saw me get up. Good Lord. Again, I will say, I'm not saying current games do not give you a challenge. Here comes the pain. As I said, if you let... I mean, this is just made because Kurt Angle is just a reversing machine. You just can't do nothing to him and Chris Benoit. But the second you let a superstar get on you, it's over in this game. Now, I know I could do a dive, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to get out. If I was RVD, maybe, sure. But I'm just not going to take that chance. Not at all. I'd do it, yeah. But just because if I miss, he would probably get out and I would lose. And now I see, look at this. It's Piper. Now, keep in mind, I manually... So this is what I mean when I said this game is so dynamic. It really depends on your position in the card. It's not random. Like, it knows in the background who they want to pull. It's all about the position of the card. I manually added Piper in. But had I not added Piper, they would have picked someone else. See? And nope, he is not supporting me. I guess either he was a face at one point and turned heel. I mean, I don't exactly remember his stat, but this is what I mean. Like, it's so dynamic. This is the most Piper. Oh, yeah, that's true. Did you help me out, someone? But no. But I just want to show you like how dynamic the story modes are. They're not. This is probably like the most to. I think this is actually, yeah. This is the last game. To my recollection, I'm really trying to remember here. This is essentially the last game that is non-linear when it came to their season or story mode. Anything could happen. Yes, there is another mode that came out starting with the final entry in the SmackDown versus Raw series that essentially is that. But when it came to just this, like in terms of a career style mode, that wasn't a sandbox. This was the last one that was non-linear. Every game that came after this, it was pretty much a linear path with very minimal branching, which it didn't matter anyway because it normally ended up the same ending of a, yeah, exactly. Like this was essentially, I think that's why a lot of people have fond memories of this. Like you can literally feel like you're, yeah, chapters, yeah. It feels like this, I feel like the reason why people love this season so much, myself included, even though it's very, again, it's very bare bones when you look at compared to the stuff that's currently out, but it's like the fact that you have every season, you have no idea what's going to happen because you really don't have any idea what's going to happen. Yes, there are some branching story that they're going to repeat one or two times, but you really had no idea what's going to happen. Like Piper is a perfect example. I manually added him in, and now he's attacking me. Had I not did that, it would have been a completely different superstar. That's the cool part about it. Sorry. So we'll do that later. So we're gonna take a quick pivot from the game because I want to, as I mentioned before, there's some other stuff I wanted to showcase. If you just bear with me. I cannot talk. Alrighty. So, I am Barry. Yes. The cut content of SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. Now, unlike, the previous game, there was only audio files for the most part, superstars. Outside of, I believe, Shane McMahon, there's only audios of people who could have been in the game. This game is notorious for people who were literally physically in the game at some point prior to release. You have physical proof of them, but then they got cut out for whatever reason. Loves a bunch of other stuff, and we're gonna grow that. Yeah, Scott Hall was the other person. I forgot. It was Shane McMahon and Scott Hall, where they were like literally in the game. Scott Hall they cut at the last moment because of his real life situation, so he replaced the whole NWO storyline with X-Pac, even though the X-Pac was never a part of that. But yeah, that's what I mean. But this one is it's notorious. So we're gonna talk about the pre-release info is gonna show you a lot, but we're just gonna go through it one by one. So to remove wrestlers, you have Al Snow, who was in the was in the previous game, and he's the only playable superstar that he's technically in the game, but he uses The Rock's model. So again, this is all through cheats or whatever. If you use the Game Shark code, or if you go through all that stuff, you can actually play as Al Snow, but he's just The Rock. A similar thing happened in Day of Reckoning with Brock Lesnar and Goldberg while they're in the games, but the models they use are Undertaker and Triple H. Hopefully I'm making makes sense. Essentially, they have the moveset to those characters. They are literally those characters, but they are the models. They're using the models of the in-game characters that are actually there. Hopefully that makes sense. Billy Gunn, the reason why, okay, so make sure that made sense. The reason why, because he was just pretty much off television for that year, but he has a hidden winning animation, but there's no entrance for him. Billy Kidman, there's no reason why. Even though it's so crazy, because he was prominent in not prominent, but he was on SmackDown a lot in 2003, 2004. So I don't know why he was not in the game. Makes no sense to me. Bradshaw, it's actually funny about Bradshaw because by him not being in this game, is Farouk even in this game? I don't even think is Farouk in this game. I don't know. We're gonna check the roster in a second. But I actually don't know if Farouk is in this game or not. But I think the reason why Farouk is not in the game, I know he left shortly afterwards, and Bradshaw has transitioned to JBL. But yeah, Hulk Hogan is notorious. Him and another person we're gonna talk about. There's two other people we're gonna talk about. Hulk Hogan, right? So there's two models of Hulk Hogan. They got to the point where they actually have renders of Hulk Hogan. And for some reason, this is in Linda McMahon's character file. They decided to put it in there. So this is still in the files of the game. It's just not accessible through regular means. But this is in the file. So Hulk Hogan is supposed to have his 2003 version as well as his Legends version. Because as you show, there's a Legends roster. And both of their renders are done. Jamal, because he left. Jeff Hardy is the other notorious one where not only was he in the game, the trailers leading up to the game showcased Jeff Hardy. He was literally in the game, and they just took him out in Warrior Select mode screen. There's pictures of them, but I think you can see him in Warrior in the season mode select screen menu. We're gonna double check that actually. If we could, that's actually cool. Oh, you're right. They do show right there, but I don't think I can actually. I'm gonna check that actually. I'm gonna take you up on that. Actually, we can check that right now. Give me 1 second. We're gonna check that right now. Why not? That is cool. I never knew you could do that. I never really scrolled through the menu that much besides looking at my superstar. I didn't care about anyone else. That's actually pretty cool. Let's see. There's a story mode playing out. Game Shark. I see. I knew it. Well, thank you. So we won't waste our time on that. At least not right now. But again, just show you what no one's talking about. If I click on this, You see how it says Al Snow. Like basically, the superstars like their information was in the game for a lot of those superstars. Certain people got further in development, like again Hulk Hogan, to the point where his render is literally in the game, so we had an idea of how he was gonna look and whatnot. So, and there's one superstar where we know his full character model besides Jeff Hardy, which we're gonna briefly touch on, which is the Ultimate Warrior. Before we get to him, Molly Holly, like I said, makes no sense why she was in there. Rosie makes no sense. Spike Dudley makes no sense. There's for reasons. Ultimate Warrior, again, I guess because the lawsuit and they didn't have the rights through them, they were to the point, although they were to the point where they actually had his whole character model and render ready to go, and William Regal, because he had the health issues, which almost ended his career too, so that's unfortunate. There's a unused blood texture slot for Taz because he's meant to be a playable character. They're probably gonna have a similar storyline to Jerry Lawler because of the documentary. Oh yeah, the Ultimate Warrior, the self-destruction of the Ultimate Warrior. I know exactly what you're talking about. That is, if you're talking about the biggest slander campaign of a superstar, let's watch that documentary. Like the biggest smear campaign you will ever see on a superstar. Officially made by WWE, by the way. Yeah, I gotta stress that one. There's an unused entrance attire for Rikishi. So essentially, to make a long story short for this thing, the models of the entrance and the actual in-game models of you wrestling superstar are two completely different models. They actually had a separate unused entrance for Rikishi. I don't know what it really was gonna come up as anything probably important, but it's just that. There's some unused creative wrestler call names, the unused strings, and some other icons I did not use made with the rope. You're right. I didn't think of it. I didn't think of that. Here I am. you thank you for saying that. I did not think of that. I forgot Rikishi had a rope. Some unused stuff right there. So the replay one probably looked a little bit different. The ropes for like rope break probably. Unused music, which I'm not gonna play because of boycott. Even though I don't think Here Comes Pain soundtrack is copyrighted. Everyone, a lot of people use it. So the unused attire. So again, when I say people dedicate themselves to this game, this is what I mean. We're not gonna watch this video because it's a whole hour, but just to make a long story short, there is many unused attires in this game. They're just not accessible, but thanks to the modding community, they make them all accessible. Like I said, Kane's attires, for example, alternate attires for the Divas, Kurt Angle. There's so many stuff. There's a lot of unused arenas as well that just can't be accessed. And there's like 29 build dates. So the pre-release info, this is what I really mean. A lot of stuff changed before this game came out. Perfect example, Hillbilly Jim had a completely different attire with the straps down. Roddy Piper was about the arenas. Yeah, there's a lot of unused arenas. You can watch it. Again, credit to Young Boy 11. It's like a whole, I mean, we're not going to play, but just to show you, it's a whole hour, 2 hours worth of content. It's an interesting watch if you ever want to watch it. Roddy Piper was actually supposed to use a legend version of himself, but instead, yeah, I'm telling you, man, the community's dedicated. But they instead used his current model when he returned in 2003. It's supposed to be a Legends version. So it's it's probably in the files of the game. Stacy Keibler, the only difference was like her outfit didn't have the logo with Test. Ultimo Dragon was just a lighter shade of blue before his final model. Undertaker had his Dead Man incorporated, and they just took that off completely. And now we are definitely going to watch the trailer. Unfortunately, we're going to have to mute the music because of copyright reasons, but we're going to watch this trailer real quick just to show you some different stuff. I mean, they pointed out so you guys can see it. The key difference between this trailer, again, this was a trailer hyping up the game. The Rock had a different model. Stone Cold had a different attire. Shawn Michaels had a different attire. The one that everyone hates, Triple H model, was completely different than what we got. People notoriously make fun of Triple H in this game because he looks like a monster in this game compared to how he actually looks in real life. And some of the Divas clothing featured different colors. But we're just going to look at this just to show you how different this game was before it coming out. Again, unfortunately, I have to mute the audio. You're not hearing anything, but we just have to mute it. As you see, like, Shawn Michaels has his attire that he originally won the World Heavyweight title in Elimination Chamber. And just the game looked a tad bit different. Probably more an alpha build before it came out. And again, that 360 finisher thing that was in Shut Your Mouth, they took it out. Triple H was 100% different. He looks more like Triple H in there. Just tad bit different. Stone Cold again has the jeans. And that's how it looked. There was there's two other videos I forgot to show you. I had to 1 second. Because with the model, like when I say with Jeff Hardy, so for Ultimate Warrior, for example, if you look at Ultimate Warrior real quick, this is a very early build of the game. The less shine. Yeah, no, how it ended up looking looks pretty fine, but just quickly show you guys. And I know it's hard to see. I wish I could update the quality. There's Ultimate Warrior. He was fully playable in the game. This is a demo build of it. As you can see, he is fully playable. He's fighting The Rock on top of the Hell in a Cell. The game is nearly done. Like, that's how far in development Ultimate Warrior was in. Same thing with Hulk Hogan. The only difference is Hulk Hogan's model is not in the game. I don't think Ultimate Warrior's is either. Or at least it's not accessible. But he was 100% supposed to be in this game. This is what I mean. And the same thing with Jeff Hardy. For Jeff, to the point where he was in the trailer. I believe it was like an IGN thing or something in the UK. Again, I can't play the audio. But you see Jeff Hardy. This is Jeff Hardy is literally in the game. Do this one-time bomb on top. Again, this is more like an alpha version where the models look completely different. They're much more shinier, as you mentioned. Just Jeff Hardy was so prominent in this game. And at least in the commercial build up to it. Like, see right here real quick. Doing this move that you can't even do. Like, that's how far, this is what I mean when I say he was almost like, this is just him taking it out, just so crazy. I just wanted to show off again, Jeff Hardy was meant to be in this game. So, one moment. Bear with me, guys. So yeah, hold up. I think we have time. It's his auto tire. Oh, who's auto tire? What was the match that we're gonna play this match? We have time to do your match before we wrap things up here. What was the match that you requested? Try to go all the way back in the chat. Where is it? Oh, ladder match triple threat tag team. Gotcha. Got it. Found it. Yep, ladder triple. Yep, found it. Yeah, we have time to do that, and then we'll wrap things up. Again, we'll just briefly show you again how dynamic the storyline is. Now there's a storyline going in there with you have a choice. Either I could call Big Show in, have these three people help me. For this sake, we're just going to choose Big Show. We're not going to play the match. But again, I just wanted to show you guys this. I think unfortunately we're going to have to lose this match. I don't think I can exit. I can't exit. We're just going to skip. We're going to skip the match. Or am I allowed to skip? Nope, I got to hit play and then I got to hit exit, blah, blah, blah. We're going to get to your ladder triple threat. No one. I appreciate you being here. Let me just skip this. Skip. And again, you winning and losing matters too, as I said, with kind of similar to Shut Your Mouth, where certain stuff happens depending on if you win or lose. Although here comes the pain when you're in a storyline, it kind of basically, I'm not saying it's pointless because the story is going to progress the way it's going to progress regardless. And run in the table. I will. I grab the table, set it up in the corner, and run in the table. Are you trying to say I'll get disqualified? I was just gonna X out the match. The opponent grabs you. I was just gonna X out the match. Let's see. Or he's gonna take it away. That works too. But you'll get DQ'd. Gotcha. But I mean, I don't care if I win or lose. This is. I'm not really playing this seriously. This season. It's all good, man. It's all good. But I did not know that. They're programmed to do that. Like I said, it doesn't really matter. Kind of makes the dynamic of the storyline kind of makes sense if he actually gets to win. There's something happening. Hold on. One second. Are you guys hearing the audio fine? They're saying something like the stream audio is weird. If it is, let me know. I just noticed something in my dashboard. I noticed they're saying something about the stream bit audio, but it doesn't look like there's nothing wrong on my end. Yeah. Okay. It was just something weird popping up on my dashboard, but it's like I didn't hear a difference. I'm just saving exit real quick. All right, it'll be ladder, triple threat, tornado tag. Oh, sure. Look how this setup is. It's so crazy. I guess I could be whoever position. I'll try to be a tag team. Let's see. Actually, where I did rank. Who have I not picked yet that is a good fit for this? Rob Van Dam. Why not? Let's see. Who's my partner? Who's a good tag team partner? Ray. Who's RVD teaming up with? Ray, right? Around this time? Was it Ray? It's either Ray or Eddie. I think I'm 100% sure it was Ray. Oh yeah, you're right, because he was on Raw. You're absolutely right. And the whole take off the mask, and you're absolutely right. Thank you. You know, it's sad because I don't have his attire. I mean, his attire. I cannot speak. Might as well pick the Dudleys. Why not? I would pick the Hardys, but you know, one of them is not in the game. Even though they weren't tag teaming anyway, it is what it is. And what about Booker T and Goldust? That was the other team. Why not? This is going to be an insane match, especially on SmackDown difficulty. Getting thrown off the ladder is going to be crazy. Goldust. All right. And we're going to choose Armageddon. Okay, that's exactly how this match is going to feel. Can I just skip the entrance? Yeah. I know there's no time for that. If I just may ask you, I would love seeing you rage in this one. We'll see. I want to try my best, get a SmackDown difficult. But if I personally ask, I'm assuming you like the stream since you've been here this whole time. Appreciate it. But what are your thoughts on this presentation and how I am doing this game or the streams in general? Again, I'm just trying to be different. I know for the most part, everyone in the community do like the same 5 things. I'm just trying to be different. Showcase a different side to the community. And there's more to it than the current game and just doing the same 5 formats all over and over again. It gets boring. The Kane just... What was the point of that, Kane? That is so weird. Why did he jump outside? There's no one out there. Well, who is he aiming? Jesus. Who is he aiming at? That is... There we go. I got 2 for 1. That was like the most randomest thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it was funny, but good lord. I'm gonna try to do the finisher off the top of the ladder. Someone stays down. You know, the smart thing to do would be, damn it, Kane! I'm on the ladder. Now, if I was slightly closer to the edge of the ring, I would have went right outside the ring. Good lord, Kane. The funny part is, when it was a TLC match on Raw, didn't Kane win that all by himself? That was an incredible TLC match on Raw back in the day. As you said, they were putting out quality matches on both Raw and SmackDown. Times are different. Can someone get D? Thank you. It's really personalized Raw Pass, you know, each other YouTubers talking about new features. The only YouTuber I can think of. Evans. Oh, wait. No, someone get Kane! Thank you. I was trying to read. This is a great one. I think I know exactly what you're talking about. But yeah, like, I feel like it's like I said, I'm not trying to call out. Everyone's entitled to do what they want. I don't care. I'm not them. Whatever makes you, at the end of the day, whatever makes you money, great. Have at it. The problem is, though, it gets to a certain point where it kind of affects the quality of the community that you're in, personally. I feel like everyone is you're either in 2 categories. There's no in between. Can someone grab him? Thank you, Kane. You're either a news YouTuber in the community or you're a challenge YouTuber where you just do challenges that are clearly aimed for kids, like it's Minecraft or whatnot. There's nothing wrong with Minecraft, but I'm just saying, like, the way they go about, or like they try to be Mr. Beast, it just gets annoying. There's more substance to the game than just talking about the news that I can read on Twitter when the game's coming out, or like patch notes I can read with my own eyes. There's no need to it. I mean, there's no problem with like giving your thoughts or opinions on it, but I don't think it needs to be 8 minutes long for a simple patch notes update. That's just me, though. That's just me. Actually, we're just gonna let them fight it out. The glitch on that's so crazy. Again, no, just personally my opinion. Okay. God damn it! Someone grab. Thank you. I am trying. Although I don't know why I'm even attempting to do that, because they're gonna grab me anyway, so it's kind of pointless. Why am I not grabbing it? What you're saying, I do agree with you, but I was trying to point out perspective. Oh yeah, the style. I didn't know there was another person in the community doing that. The great one. But he mostly reviews like the proper, like mainly the WWE. I mean, he does sometimes review the games. I know exactly what you're talking about. I believe he's more into like the actual real life product than the actual video game. All right, Kane, I'm gonna try to hold him off. Damn it, Cold Dust. God, Kane, why would you throw me now? I'm going outside the ring. It is what it is. Here I am going right outside the ring. He does cover the product a lot more. Yeah, like I said, like I noticed the one thing in our community, like there's not a lot of people just covering any of the other games. Like not necessarily like you have to, but it's just like it's either the current game or nothing. There's no other substance. They're just like no one in the positions that they're in are covering like anything else besides the current game, and they move on to the next one. They move on to the next one. Like conveyor belt. That's what I mean. It's like there's not like weird. Hey, why not me? if you're in the center of the ring with the circle. You're right. I mean, I was trying to grab it. I don't know. I know what you're saying. There you go. Cause I know someone was gonna try to throw me off. I was afraid someone's gonna throw me off. Okay, that's it. Now I'm about to just go crazy. Why would he do the leap? I feel like I get it. Is this the game in the series with this? Unfortunately, I can tell you right now, so I won't hold you. No, that is not going to happen. Down the line, sure, but for the first time I'm doing something like this, I just wanted to focus on the main series. The side series I have ideas for, but just, you know, just I don't want to test something with the. There's nothing wrong with the game, but like the side games that aren't the main games are just a very no one would probably not necessarily care, but it's just if I'm gonna do something the first time, I might as well just talk about the main stuff first. But just to let you know, no, in this 25-day event, the main they will be talked about. Don't get me wrong; they're actually going to be talked about actually probably in the next 1 or 2 days. That's understandable, yeah. If people like this, and I see like people want to watch this even on demand, then sure, like that's what I was afraid of. All right, we're at a point where something's got to give here. I don't think I even hit a finisher yet because there's just so much chaos. I got to hit the 5-star frog splash eventually, preferably off the ladder. Kane. I love how they're just standing there. Right, is he just waiting for me, or so he's either waiting for Kane? He's waiting for Kane. That's the only reason why he's just standing there, or not. He's just frozen. All right, that works too. All right, you're getting thrown out. God damn it! I know I should have just hit circle. I gotta stop. I gotta stop. Doing that. Good Lord. All right, I'm hitting the 5-star frog splash on Booger. There we go. I don't know why Goldust is just standing there. All right, people are starting to. We're getting to the point where everyone's getting like me. I knew it. So we're at the point where if Kane's smart enough, he would get up that ladder. But it seems like everyone's just standing there like they don't know what they're doing, which is fine. Ah! And then everyone falls. How did the... Can someone grab Booger? Thank you, Devon. Move with a purpose, people. Move with a freaking purpose. I was about to do fine ladder grapple. I say if no one just grabs this guy. Oh yeah, he's dead. What, Kate? You had the chance. Oh god, damn it! No. All right. Oh come on! He's doing it again. All right, Kane. This is literally your chance to do something. Thank you for picking me up, at least. I appreciate that. Okay, like, there's too many weapons in the way, to be honest with you. Oh! Come on. Oh, I was right there, and now I'm bleeding. I was right there. Come on, Kane. Oh. D-bot. I was right there. I was literally right there. You cannot be serious. All right. I hit the ref. I was trying to aim for Bubba Ray. I hit the ref. I wonder if I grab the title, if he's down, does that count? I know it counts, but that would have been funny if they programmed the way the referee didn't see it. It wouldn't matter. But I know that's way too. That was way too advanced, probably. Okay, there's a lot of weapons in her way, so we're gonna have to start breaking some stuff here. There we go. Oh, come on, I was so close. Oh! Get out the ring. What? Okay, yeah, see now Kane's doing it. All right, appreciate it, Kane. Now, if you can cover me, I'll try to cover Kane. Okay. This do a Van Damme. I'll try. I will try. Actually, I think I just did it. I think you just missed it. Did I not just do a Van Damme? Come on. Oh wait, can I do one in this game? Is that even possible? I just realized what you asked for. Is that actually in this game where I can? No, I now I know what you're talking about. Is that possible in the game? It is. I just misremember. Isn't Van Daminator with the chair, right? Yeah, then I just did it. If you're talking about that, I 100% just did it. It was just on the side. It was near my webcam. Can someone grab Booker? Well, that does it there. I guess the answer to your question, unfortunately, we can't do it, at least here. No one grabbed Booker T. No one grabbed Booker T. Kane was right there. Unreal. Unreal. I mean, they earned it. Whoever won this, the hell that we all been through, they earned it. Now, yeah, of course, they're using me as an example of losing. They earned it. I'm laughing. they earned it. I can't even be mad at that. So just a few things I just want to go over. Just a few things. Bear with me before we adjourn here. The reception of this game, right? 1 second. Reception of this game. It got an 85, I think. These guys said it best. The best wrestling game on the market. Game Shark said the vast number of improvements to the gameplay. Because that was the main theme. As I said, with Shut Your Mouth, there was nothing else to improve. Because the main criticism from Just Spring was the season mode. They corrected it. This was just like, hey, let's just work on this gameplay engine that we had since the PS1 game and finally make it something different. That's exactly what they did, and they hit it out the park. The vast number of improvements. Yep, new models like the Elimination Chamber, Brawl and Painting matches. You see, this was accepted back then. Make it the best. This was the definitive wrestling game. The most complete SmackDown game yet, with change and improvements I were mentioned a fighting system that is such fun. Okay, just with the new grapple system. Yeah, that was essentially the main thing I showcased in the beginning. I don't think you were there. The three main core aspects of the gameplay that made this the perfect wrestling game in the arcade sense was the grapple system. Now you have a more variety of moves, the weight detection, they add more of a simulation. So now people like Rey Mysterio can pick up the Big Show, and then the submission system where it's more of a mini game where if you put on a submission system, you just automatically win. That's what made this the complete package. It took what worked in Shut Your Mouth with the season mode. They kept that for the most part. They made it way more dynamic where it's just like the most non-linear experience. So every new season, you're getting a completely different experience depending on your character, who are the champions, and your position on the card. And was just updating the gameplay. Like, this is a bare bones wrestling game, people. I don't think you understand. This is as bare bones as you get. The match types, it's just a season mode and exhibition. That's all you got. There is no, I mean, we had the creation spot, which I didn't really showcase. Guys showcased. For the most part, there was virtually no different, just adding new stuff from Shut Your Mouth. I did showcase, which I wish they would bring back, creative animation and Shut Your Mouth in yesterday's stream. Which is so cool that you could do that back in a PS2 game in the year 2002 and also 2003. I know it's in this game as well. But that was the focus of this game. I didn't really want to be redundant there, but yeah. Um, it's just this is because this is the standard. No other game has reached this. And just to show you the sales, I don't know how much VG charts is accurate, but I just go by them. They shipped over 2 million units. I know because of the modern audience, I know, but still, just sometimes you just gotta let stuff go. Japan 0.04, North America 1.32. I don't know how updated this is. 1.06, almost 3 million units. Now again, when was the last time you updated this? Who knows? I guess it says by 2020. And keep in mind, this is just on one platform. They sold all these copies just for a yearly release of a wrestling game. This is how popular this game was. It hadn't reached the heights of SmackDown 2 sales by itself, but you get the idea. And just one more thing I just want to show off before we adjourn. When I say like this game will not die, this is what I mean. The modding community, they have for years continued to update this game. I'm only going to show like the first minute. Where you have this guy, credit to Ahmed. I'm not going to try to pronounce the rest of that name. He had like the Ultimate Edition, where if you have a PC, you could just download this version of Here Comes the Pain. Hassan, gotcha. And here's what he did with the game. He added people like Jeff Hardy. Added the SmackDown arena from 2000. Again, they will not. If this, when it comes to modding wrestling games, it's this, No Mercy, and a tie between SmackDown versus Raw 2011 and SmackDown 2, where they will just continue to mod that game to this day. And see, like, again, wrestlers like Hogan, who are supposed to be in the game, and Ultimate Warrior, which you already had a model for anyway. Like, people care about in the community. But don't worry, guys. In this 25-day event, this won't be the last time we're talking about the modding, because they actually pay a very interesting story into one of the games we'll be talking about. So you think this is the only time we'll talk about the modding community? Oh no, they are very vital into one of the games that we're going to be going over in this event. So don't worry about that. This is not the last time I'm going to be referencing the modding community. So you guys can wait. Won't spoil which game, but don't worry. It will not be the last time. What were you gonna say? No one. But yeah, like just to show you, like this game will not die. People will still find ways to make this game the best experience. Cause people really like. You probably ask yourself why they go this extra effort to put stuff like in there. They just reenacted. Yes, from WrestleMania 19. I'm glad you saw that. Yep. Where I put out of it. Yep. At a Raw's War Arena, and they just showed up. Yep. Right here. I don't know if he did that on purpose or not. I feel like he did that on purpose, honestly. Because he could have had it where he did it correctly. I think he did that on purpose, to be honest with you. I'm not blaming him, but yeah, you're absolutely right. He did totally do that. But yeah, overall, Here Comes the Pain. I showed you in the past 2 hours why this game is the standard. No matter much more I can say, the gameplay speaks for itself. It's fun, competitive, the perfect arcade gameplay of any wrestling game, and that they added that little bit of the simulation, which eventually they will, of course, direct to that style in the coming games. This is the standard. There's no matter how many times people tell you, I know there's a huge debate, either No Mercy or Here Comes the Pain. Here's my honest hot take on that situation. Well, I appreciate you though for saying Grace. I'm glad you enjoyed it. The fact that you've been here this whole time, really appreciate it. And I know you're not even in my time zone, so it's 10 o'clock for me. I think it's like 6 o'clock in the morning for you right now. I appreciate that so much. But here's my current hot take on that. I know people say the debate between No Mercy, Here Comes Pain. People have right to their opinion. Here's how I look at it. If No Mercy was great, I know it's part of a completely different developer, Aki, but Ukes had to wait. They had their opportunity to make it like No Mercy. There's a reason why. They have, for years after this game, they kept on this style of game and didn't transition to the style that No Mercy did. They could expand upon that, but he kept it this way. And again, there's a reason why one series continued over the other. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying No Mercy is a bad game. I'm not personally attached to it, but I see why people like the game. But I think most people can acknowledge that Here Comes the Pain is the definitive wrestling game experience. No Mercy is for what it is. It's more of a simulation. But that's with like the perfect patch of anyone can enjoy this game without knowing anything about wrestling is best thing I could say. Anyone can enjoy like here No Mercy. I feel like there was a learning curve, especially it's not the fault of No Mercy. It's more so the system it was on. That Nintendo 64 controller just was not it for No Mercy. If No Mercy was on the control scheme of the PlayStation, I think there would be a different argument. But because of the Nintendo 64 controls, it's a learning curve to it, is what I'm trying to say. For me, at least. This is just all my opinion. I don't want to think anything else. I don't want anyone to think like what I'm saying is like absolute, obviously not. But just for me, there's a reason. The Yuke's games early back in the day was known for their easy pick up and play. Anyone could play this. I remember back in the day, like when I went over my dad's house, everyone could just pick up this. You would just play and just pick up a controller. You just play it. It was just a simple. I mean, it was hard. Don't get me wrong, but it was just you could just pick up and play it. But yeah, this is the game that no game has ever touched. But tomorrow, I think due to success of Here Comes the Pain, they decided to not make any more SmackDown games. Because this is, as I said, the final SmackDown game. Here Comes the Pain. That was it. Because next year's installment, due to various reasons we'll talk about, they decided to pivot and go to a new direction. They really, again, we were in the ruthless aggression era of WWE, the brand split, and they really emphasized, they really like took that to heart. This was the era where Ukes was focusing on what the current product was doing and try to mimic it as much as possible. So in tomorrow's stream, we're going to be headed to the SmackDown versus Raw era in the very first game, WWE SmackDown versus Raw, and talk about why that game changed WWE games forever. So thank God for watching, whether you're watching live or on demand. Very much appreciate it, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow. Before I go, you said, yes, but between 06 Day Reckoning 2, I prefer 2, which was a lot similar to No Mercy. No Mercy. Side note, I between Day Reckoning 2 and No Mercy, between the first Day Reckoning and the and 06, I actually do prefer Day Reckoning 2, especially because that the whole system that they had for the fatigue and whatnot. I do agree with you there. I do agree with you there. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow.